First of all, on the metal prices, the US and China, the markets really seem to be watching out every statement, word, sentiment that seems to be coming in from both these countries. What is the sense that you're making right now?
Well, good morning, Manisha. Yes, the great degree of uncertainty and the unknown that people build their expectations and then all of a sudden the rug's pulled from under them. And it just seems to be an ongoing saga that hasn't really. It's been the same story all of 2019. If you put your mind back, it just seems to be gain momentum. There's a level of confidence. We're going to strike a deal, and then all of a sudden it all ends in tears. And the way it's travelling, is this just a natural course of events to see if President Trump gets elected at the end of 2020, and that could be the stalling technique China plays and says, well, look, he's no longer here, see you later. But if he's back in, it's going to create all sorts of contingencies moving forward.
Peter, the US presidential elections are exactly a year away. I mean, are you expecting the same this kind of uncertainty to continue for much of 2020 as well?
You would have to be, if you're a betting man, and I think many of the hedge funds and many of the traders are mindful of it, that the degree of uncertainty, you've got money at record lows. I mean, the interest rates globally are just astounding. Then you've got a US dollar that's still at that 98 level or close to it, 97.5, 98 US dollar index. You've got the uncertainty with Brexit, and you've got a continuing, a booming US equity market, like it or not. It just seems to be hitting records, week after week. So that's really fueling the whole fire. And from an observer looking in, tell me why you're going to get a deal struck this in 2020. There's no real impetus, I don't think, from China other than America ratcheting up tariffs again. So I suppose that could be the mechanism that's going to possibly get some action. But the Chinese may sit on their hands or they may retaliate. I mean, it just seems to be an ongoing geopolitical concern.
Okay. So when you're looking at all of these metals, Peter, even when you look at the individual fundamentals, for some time we were looking at inventories declining on LME warehouses, but with the kind of Chinese production increase that we've seen, that brings some added pressure for many of these metals. What is your sense on where are we headed for the near term for this space?
Well, when you look at copper, and I like to start with that, I mean, it's really been range bound. If you put your mind over the last month, been fairly tight from that 270 a pound US dollar cent to around about that 260 sort of level. You've really got to think of, are we going to see a breakout? Are we back above $3 or is it going south? And that gives us, I think, some sort of appreciation as far as the big scale. We're well off the highs that we saw going back, middle of the year and that, say, early part of April where you were close to $3 a pound. Now you're sitting there at $2.60. I think it's, again, going to be very much range-bound over the next couple of months until you see something definitive happen. If you don't see a trade deal, then I think that's going to really spur the markets. If you do see a trade deal, it might even spur the markets also. So I think that at the present time, it's just one of holding onto your hat and seeing where the moves are, Manisha.
All right, Peter. One last final question. So within the metals, I understand there's a lot of uncertainty from where we stand right now, but where do you see slightly better fundamentals? Is it going to be ferrous, non-ferrous, iron ore prices, steel? Almost everything has seen profit taking.
Well, exactly right. There's been a great degree of profit taking, and they've all been, all the traders are rubbing their hands with glee over the last matter of months because it's been a great time to trade, and now, and many traders have traded to the short as well. So I feel as though that you'll see some form as far as the copper market have some movement to the upside if you see deal to be done and general feel-good movement. But there's so many other moving parts as far as euro slowdown areas, a sense of uneasiness across the global economy. So let's see what happens with China and the trade talks, and then we'll have a closer look at that probably in mid-December to get a better indication as far as a trade perspective.